to you from MTC Studios here in Philadelphia. Today we have I'm excited about today's session. It's actually part of my, I guess you could call back to school day, and we got a back to school edition of Mid-Day Café, where we're going to be taking a look for educators at the OneNote class notebook as well as the OneNote staff notebook for managing staff. So both classroom student focused and staff focused uses of OneNote along with Office 365. It's pretty exciting stuff. I love it. Can't wait to show you. Can't wait to go through it. A couple of housekeeping items before we get started with our tech news of the week and a little app fun. But if you are watching this for the first time, a couple of things that you might want to consider. Number one, below the video, there is a thing for Yammer integration. Now, you can click login if you don't already have Yammer opened. But what it'll let you do is if you have not had access to Yammer in the past for our network or our private group that we're using for conversations, and you want to be able to ask me questions during today's broadcast, you can request access. It'll prompt you and allow you to request access. Our event coordinator and producer extraordinaire, Steven, you want to yell out a hello?
How you guys doing out there?
So Steven gave a little shout out. He's going to be monitoring the Q&A and feeding those up to me. So you can go ahead and request those also. And I will go ahead and just minimize this. Excuse me. But if you send an email, if you send a request to mgann, MGANN at Microsoft.com, mgann@Microsoft.com, with the subject line MTC TV Yammer, MTC TV Yammer. I'll keep an eye, and I'll check that once in a while, and I'll be able to manually add you to the group. But the best way, like I said, is to actually go in, request if it's your first time. If not, you can just log in using the credentials. We need, just so you know, to be able to add you, you need to use a email that's not something like Hotmail or Gmail. It's a corporate account. So your school email address, if you're watching from a company and wondering about this stuff for use in your learning management within your corporate space, then give us your corporate account. Email, not your whole account, just your email address. So without further ado, please, and I'll call that on occasionally. And again, like I said, Steven's going to be monitoring that. But let's go ahead and get started with a little bit of news. So we have a number of very cool items here in news today. The first of which is this: updates in Power Query for Excel. And I love this. So they have Power Query, and they have this whole thing around Power Query with updates. And so they have a number of them. They have this month's Power Query update. And again, one of the things clients ask me quite frequently is, Mike, why would I want to use Office Pro Plus Click to Run versus just the traditional install bits for Office? And this is one of those examples. So we have here some items around Power Query and being able to do things, some of the updates that we'll talk about quickly. But if you want to have those updates fed to your organization, that's where you're going to want to use Click to Run, because we have regular updates to feature functionality of the Office client. You're not seeing that in the traditional install bits, the old MSI. So Click to Run is the way to install Office so you can get the latest and greatest and keep your users up to date. So what do we have this month? Well, number one, we have an option to specify join type in the Merge Queries dialog. So if you're of a mind to merge, you'll have the option to specify join type. Next, extract first, last, or a range of characters from a text column. So if you want to go ahead and do extractions, now we're going to permit that within Power Query. Additionally, customize the quote style in split column by delimiter dialog. So if you like to delimit with a delimiter dialog, well, you're going to want to do that. Customize quote style, you'll be able to. And also finally, support for UPN credentials in the Exchange connector, which is important because if you want to pull Exchange information, you're going to need that. So they have those here. There's more details. Check out the link after the break, after we broadcast. We'll have that posted up. as well as there is a link within this post where you can actually download Power Query if you don't have it yet on your system. If you don't, you should check it out, especially if you are an Excel guru and like to slice and dice. So check that out after the break. Next up, preview real-time co-authoring on OneDrive. And so this is, a lot of users who've been using the web-based Outlook web applications to do co-authoring. They could see pretty much that real-time view and somebody's asking me for my address. Oh boy. So back to where we were. So if you wanted to see real-time co-authoring, well then you could certainly do that using Office web applications, but you didn't get that in the rich client view. Well, in 2016 Office, we're permitting that. For example, I am running Office 2016 preview on my desktop. That's my desktop productivity tools of choice. You can get the preview as well. And now one of the later updates to the preview allows you to preview, in the preview, co-authoring on OneDrive. So if you got OneDrive set up in your environment, you can go ahead, leverage that, and start to actually do real-time preview. So you got real-time co-authoring. You can see it in your Office apps. It's rocking. I've been checking it out. You're going to want to check it out too. In this one, they actually show some screenshots, kind of highlighting what that looks like. Take a look. Here they're doing it with Word. If you would like to preview, check this post out after the break as well. Next, optimizing Yammer for Teams. Are you part of a team? There is no I in team, but there is a Y when we're talking about Yammer. Why? Because Yammer is all about facilitating collaboration amongst teams. So this is an article by Juliet Way, Senior Product Marketing Manager for the Yammer team. She has a whole piece out about helping some of the activities using discovery feeds, real-time group activity, immersive group experience, next group notification, and more using Yammer. So you're going to want to check this out. If you are trying to facilitate collaboration amongst teams, amongst groups, and wanting people to work together, Yammer is a great construct for doing it. It's how we, again, quick shout out, how we do discussions below the video here with our integrated Yammer feed where you can request access and we'll grant that to you. So be checking that out. Stephen will be monitoring that, and if you have any questions, you can post them there, and you can also request access. We'll see a little bell alert there, and he can go ahead and grant that. Next up in the news for this week. It's kind of a great segue into what's coming up in just a few minutes. School administrators. Are you a school administrator? Even if you're not, maybe you manage in a corporate environment training, right? And you manage the trainers, the educators, as it were, within your environment. Or you're actually a school administrator and you have school staff. Like I used to be a teacher and I had an administrator over it. So if you would like, we have here, and that's what we're going to be covering today, one of the two things. Get your staff notebook at My Apps or OneNote.com/staffnotebook.edu. So you can go to OneNote.com. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to copy that little URL. We're going to paste it on in here. We're going to hit enter. Dun, 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 dun. And here you can see it. So guys, should go full screen, Stephen, for a sec. So if we look here, you'll see when we go to OneNote.com/staffnotebook.edu, or not .edu, staffnotebook.edu, all one word. You can see here they have a little whole piece for cultivating and managing educator collaboration. We have a video on using staff notebooks to improve school efficiency. You can play and kind of get a real good sense. And look at that. There's Barry. Barry does a great job of explaining it. I'm going to explain it here. You can come out of full screen. But they have a whole little bit about it. Browsing staff notebooks on the web, downloading sample ones so you can check it out on your PC. If you're interested, check this out. Again, OneNote.com/staffnotebooks. That concludes our tech news for the week. Check out after the break for links to all those stories so you can dive into them, get their associated downloaded content, etc. But next, we're going to cover my app of the week, and then we're going to dive into our subject matter. So, if you are the owner, proud owner of a Windows phone, maybe you're getting ready for this fall and some of the new goodies coming from Windows Phone, and you go on vacation and you want to do some cool things, there is an app you need to check out. It is this. It is called Photo Story. Photo Story. So go in. It's by Microsoft. It is free, right? And in here, they've got all kinds of information. So let me go ahead and click the more. It's from the Microsoft Garage, where they turn fresh ideas into actual projects. And in this particular one, I've downloaded it and started messing around with it. Photo Story, what it does, it takes all the pictures from a day of photos, turns it into a music video. So I actually posted out the other day, we had a offsite for our team here, the MTC architects and our management, where we toured the local Mars Beverage Corporation, got to see their workplace of the future environment. Awesome environment, let me say that. If anybody from Mars is watching, shout out to those folks, because that place is rocking. Plus it smells like coffee everywhere, which Mikey likes. So having said that, we also then went and played golf. Took a bunch of pictures with my phone, and you're able to go in and very quickly, I'm going to go through the little screenshots here, but you should definitely check it out. So let's go full screen, Stephen. And I am going to expand my view and bring this on over here. There we go. So here you can see this is what it looks like when you open the application. The very first screen you're going to get is this, and it says turn a day of photos into a photo story. So think about it. You're on vacation. You're out there. You're over in Paris, and you're going around the Eiffel Tower, or you're in Italy, and you're going to the Colosseum, or you're in my favorite happy place. You're in the Caribbean, and you got you're taking pictures of water that is just blue, crystal clear. Well, what can you do? Very easily take those pictures, and it says first start by selecting a cover photo. So this piece here, you just click it. That's it. And it's going to allow you to then pick a photo from a day. So let's go ahead. I'm going to click here. Once you've picked a photo from a particular day, it's going to put that up front and center. Now, it's important to note, it's going to it's going to look at all the pictures from that given day, right? So you're going to go ahead. It's then going to allow you to pick a theme. So you click down here where it says pick theme. And then it has some themes. This is just a sampling of those. You get a number of them, a number more. But what's going to happen is it's going to then stylize the pictures when it pulls them together and creates this video according to that given theme. Next, pick music. So they have a number of royalty-free musical pieces that you can pick. And this is just a sampling of those. Again, it will scroll down. You can see more. But you go ahead. You can either play to listen, or you can just click on the actual music to select it. Once you do so, it then it's going to go through, and you can actually click the edit button. It's going to generate the music piece for you. You can then click the little pencil to say, hey, I want to edit. Once you click edit, then you'll notice it automatically from that given day picks a number of photos. You can go and add more just by clicking on them. You can deselect ones you don't want by clicking on ones that are already selected. Also notice here where it says party theme, there's a pencil. You can click that and change the theme if you desire. And then finally, notice the title. It pulls the date. You can click and edit that. So if you want to give it a name that makes sense, maybe it's day at the beach, maybe it's day at the Coliseum, day at the Eiffel Tower, whatever, you can go ahead and click and edit that. And that's it. That's all it takes. It then goes through, it creates one, and actually I'm going to go ahead, I didn't plan on this, but we're going to go ahead and take a look. So I'm going to go to my Facebook homepage, and I'm going to scroll on down here. There it is. So here is a one. I'm going to go to the page here because we can just go full screen. So here's the one I created the other day. So I'm going to click HD, go full screen. And here you can see, this is it. Check it out. Turn the volume up a bit. And so you get the idea. You can come out of full screen now. So again, that's Photo Story. It's gonna, and it's actually have it rendering in back of me so folks can see that. I'll mute the audio. There we go. And so you can see it looks pretty cool. It allows you to create these high impact. There's Tariq on this cool chair that swivels around. Create these high impact videos without any work, no editing. All I did here was pick an initial one to say this is my entry one. I changed the title, and that was it. It went ahead, grabbed all these images. It grabs up to a maximum of 30, so you'll want to think about that as you're creating them. Maybe you'll create a series of them for a day if you went photo crazy, or you can just pick the key ones as samplings throughout the day. But that's my app for the week. It rocks. It's free for Windows Phone. It's called Photo Story. Check it out, and you can get rocking on your summer vacation. So with that, I'm going to close that out. We are going to minimize down and get ready for today's topics, which is back to school with Class Notebook Creator and Staff Notebook. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to open up a presentation. We're going to be mixing up presentation with demo today, and I'm just going to go ahead and make that. So that's showing up in back of me. OneNote Class Notebooks increase productivity and efficiency in the classroom by me, Michael Gannotti. So let's go ahead, Steve, and go full screen. And we're going to come on in. And this is part of our OneNote in Education series and OneNote in Learning. The objective is to boost classroom efficiency. If you're not using OneNote, you should. You'll see as I go through why. But let's just move on. What is OneNote? So first of all, if you're not familiar with OneNote, what is it? Well, we talk about here, it is the ultimate notebook for documents, pictures, notes, any inserted file type, audio and video. So I'm actually going to exit out of there. And let's go ahead and open up OneNote. This is OneNote 2016, but the same goes for anything. I'm going to go ahead and click Add a Page. So here you can see with OneNote, it's a great construct. I'm actually pulling out, you can't see. Actually, go out of full screen, Stephen. I want people to see. So, if you have OneNote, right? So you're seeing in back of me, my OneNote on my Surface. If you have a device, maybe it's an iPad, maybe it's a Surface, a Windows device, or it could be an Android if you got a stylus. You can come in and look at that. I am drawing, I am writing. Boom, natural. This is me, right? All kinds of great ways to use OneNote for taking notes and stuff, and you'll see more of that as we go. But we can insert content, not just take them with this or take them with a stylus. We have, go full screen again, Steve, and the ability to attach a file, to go ahead and insert spreadsheets, diagrams, screen clippings, pictures, online pictures, links, record audio. Holy guacamole, let's go ahead and do that. Let's click record audio. And so it's going to start to insert audio into here. And I am using beta, and oh, lo and behold, it's not responding. So hopefully you're not. There we go, now it's working. So it's now recording that video. Here's that screen, so it's recording my audio as I go. I'm going to click stop. You have the option within here to enable searching video and audio. I'm going to say enable. Yes, I like that. You know why I like enable audio search? Because then when I search for content, it becomes full. It actually will index the audio feed, full text index. So it's going to translate my audio to text, full text index it, and allow that to be a searchable attribute in my OneNote. So some great things, and it'll also do that, by the way, if you insert video. So you can go ahead and do that as well. So some great rockin' stuff with OneNote. I'm going to close my OneNote. Let's come back to my piece here. And are we full screen? Yeah. He said yes. Excellent. So, a couple of other things. I already showed you some of the things we can insert. Can reside on any device. So one of the beauties of OneNote, it's available for the Mac. It's available for iOS, so iPhone, iPad. It's available for Android. It's available through a web browser, any modern browser, and finally Windows itself, SharePoint and or OneDrive. And you can share it as view only. People can just see to consume content or to edit and collaborate. And we're going to see all of that in the class notebook as well as the staff notebook. So, a couple of other things that they're showing here. Here's these tasks they've gone ahead and assigned. You also see screen clipping tool. It's grabbed, and they grabbed some screenshots from perhaps a web page, dropped it in. All that good stuff's all there. Now, what is the OneNote, the class notebook creator? Well, it's a framework for teaching and learning with OneNote and Office 365. First of all, you have the teacher. It centers around that, and I'm going to show you how we set these up and build them. But the teacher's going to create this shared class notebook by a template. They don't have to build anything. It's all templated for them. And what they are going to do though is add the students, and I'll show you how they do that. The teacher, it's important to note, will see everything in this notebook. Students, not the case, because they should not see everything. But teacher will have full access across the board. Next, once they create it, it's going to set up for them, number one, a collaboration space, right? And in the collaboration space, then students can come in. They're going to get a link to it. And in this shared section, collab, they're going to see that as well as content and their individual notebooks. And we're going to look more at that in a bit. And I'm going to just kind of leave that. I'll let that kind of build out. But you're going to have this collaboration space where everybody can go in and see and edit and add notes. Think about this. You have a class assignment that day or something you're giving a lecture on. The whole class can log into the notebook, and in the collaboration space they all can take notes, and at the end of the period, those consolidated meeting minutes, consolidated notes are available for everyone. Think about the power of that. What do students do? Back in the day when I was, back in the Stone Age when we were still using stone tablets, clay tablets in cuneiform, right? When we took notes and somebody missed school, what did they do? Hey man, can I borrow your notebook? I'd lend them my notebook or I'd borrow it, and then you try to copy their notes. Here, it's just done. They missed school, they're sick, they can log in that very same day and get all the notes and see what they missed. It also sets up a content library. The content library is an area that the teacher can edit, but students can only consume. Think about the deliverables for that day. If you're having a lecture or a lesson and you have handouts and other things, those you can make available there, as well as the assignment. Write out the assignment for the day. Have that listed. You can even put a little video or an audio clip students can click on and listen or watch that has you kind of giving an overview. Hey, this was the lesson we're going to be covering today. Make sure to download the following and be sure to complete the following assignments. Students will be able to all consume that, including those who miss school. Only you can edit. And then finally, student notebooks are set up. For every student that you add, they will each have their own individual notebook area within there that they can only see theirs. You get to see all the students, so you get a holistic view across, but now you can collaborate so when they see the assignments, maybe they were sick and out, but they saw the assignment, checked out the notes, and completed the assignment before coming to school, they'll be able to drop that off in that notebook and you'll get alerted and be able to see and accumulate that. What's the great thing about all this? Well, besides the obvious, think about snow days. So Microsoft has a great case study with a district in Ohio that leverages this for what they call their Blizzard brown bags. You can come on back for a sec. It's called the Blizzard brown bags, where they have these notebooks that you're going to see me create in just a moment set up for their classes, and when school is canceled because of a snow day, that doesn't mean it counts as a snow day. It's not a missed day of school or curriculum, because the teacher has all their content there. All the students can go. They can even further facilitate using Skype for business, the Skype edition, and utilize that to have a live classroom setting. But they can set up for all the students and check in on an ongoing basis throughout the day. They can go in, quickly upload a little video or audio clip, explain the lesson, put in their lesson, type stuff out, directions, have handouts, etc. Students can all go in and then get that content, turn it in, and there is no downtime from the curriculum. It all gets captured, tracked, takes place, so you don't have to count against your school day, your snow day count. You might want to think about that because, I don't know, Stephen, do you read the Farmer's Almanac?
Not
He
recently.
hasn't read it recently. He oughta. Because why? Well, what are they predicting for this coming year? A colder winter and a more snowy winter. El Nino generating moisture combined with cold temperatures to make a lot of snow. So if you don't want to be going to school come July, you might want to think about leveraging OneNote Class Notebook Creator. So they have here a little bit about the anatomy. I'm just going to go through real quickly on this. It says, you can go full screen again. First of all, again, just to kind of recap, and then we're going to build one rather than use theirs. Here, content library. Teachers can edit, students can view only. So your content library, that's where you put content and instructions to disseminate to students. Next, collaboration space. Teachers and students can edit. Everybody can edit there. This is a great place for that kind of collaborative or note taking during a class session where you have that done at the end of class. Then finally, student notebooks. Students can only edit their own. In fact, they only see their own. Teachers, however, can edit everybody's. So teacher across all students, students only get access to theirs. So I'm going to exit out of this. I'm going to actually upload this deck for everybody into the Yammer groups. Actually, let's go ahead. Let's close that. And I don't believe, I did not have it open. So we're going to go ahead and open my little Yammer before we start this particular one. And we'll come in here. And we're going to go to our external MASD. So again, if you haven't asked for access, you might want to check it out, MTC TV. And we'll go ahead, and I am just going to come in here, upload from my desktop. We're going to take the class notebook and add that. So that's going to go ahead and upload. And while that is working, whoops, I didn't want to open that. We're going to go ahead and go to a team site that I have set up where we can add a class notebook. So here I have a standard SharePoint. Come in here. Oh. Upload. Where am I grabbing? Desktop. Ah. I opened up to my last view, so I was hearing myself. All right, so back here, we're at the MGAN training demo site. So here we have a Office 365 site, nothing elaborate, but we want to add, and you can see here is an artifact from doing class notebooks previously. So I can come here. I'm actually going to go ahead. Let's come in here to the library. I forgot to delete this earlier. Let's delete this library. Yes, blah, blah, blah. Come back to our home page. And what I want to do now is add this particular app. So we're going to come in here in our site, come up to the top where we have the little gear, and click on Add an App. It's that simple. So once we come in here to add an app, if your organization has already preloaded it, you can grab it from your org. Might be showing here as an available app. And here you can see a range of apps. My org, Microsoft, has made available for me, or you can grab it from the SharePoint store. So here is the SharePoint App Store online, and there is the class notebook. It's right on the front page. If it doesn't show for you, simply come in here under Find an App and say OneNote Class Notebook, and just go ahead and hit enter, and you'll see it comes up again there. When I click on this, it says here's the OneNote class notebook creator. It has a description, has some screenshots. It says, good news, you already own this app. I have permissions because I own it. It is free, by the way, so it doesn't cost you anything. If you are not able to add yourself, you can ask your SharePoint or Office 365 administrators to make this available. I'm going to go ahead and click add it. It's going to say, do you trust it? I'm going to say, yes, trust it. Trust me. And now you can see it's going ahead and adding the OneNote class notebook creator. So that's our first step, is to add that to our site. Once it is done, it's not going to be, you can see here it's kind of looking a little ghosted or grayed out. It says we're adding your app. Then it's going to look like these other apps that are here without this we're adding. And I'll be able to click on it to start actually setting up my class or classes. It's fairly simple. So we're going to let that run for a second. And then we'll come here. Let me go ahead and just quickly refresh. We'll take a look. Yeah, it's still adding it. So we want to go ahead. There we go. And it's done. That quick. You know, what it's like is this. Go ahead and come out here for a sec, Steve. So if you think about it, what do you do today? We wanted to make this easy. We don't want educators or even people in the corporate space who are setting up classes for training. We don't want you to have to build this stuff. It's templated. So what do you do on a phone? You add an app. You go to a store, you click the app, it adds it. Well, that's what we've done here. So now you can see it in back of me. Let's come back full screen. And once we've added the app, the next thing is to use it. So what we want to do is set up our classes. So whether you're a trainer in a corporate environment, whether you are somebody doing some, maybe you do this for your business. You could be doing cooking classes, whatever the case might be. You're an educator. You want to set up your classes and students. We're going to go ahead and click the app. And it's going to go ahead and bring up a screen. It says almost there. This is the first time. Whoa! To resolve, rename, or delete the folder, courses, and launch the app again. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that to that group. I deleted stuff without checking. Oops. So that was a faux pas on Mikey's. What is it telling me? I might have to go to another site. Let's see the one. The edu folder, app documents. Oh boy. Do one quick thing. Edu app documents. I should not have. I went and edu. Oh, this is. Wait a minute. That's new. Well, we'll try it. We'll see what happens here. We're going to click new. Or click the app again. I don't know. I shouldn't have done. Okay, there we go. So I had already had that previously. I hadn't cleared out all. I used this for a previous demo. If you did it from scratch, worry not. This is the view you'll get. All right. So here we are. It says welcome to OneNote Class Notebook Creator. We will help you to create a notebook that you can use in your classroom. So the first thing is to create a notebook. What we're gonna do this for each of our classes. So let's go ahead, and I just want to double check, checking on training. What is your mixed way presentation? Oh boy, and people are asking me all these questions. I love how they, this was last minute, so let me quick. This is other teachers, so I gotta say yes. Here at 45 Liberty in Liberty Place. Oops. If I spell this, and I apologize. The district was supposed to confirm. They did not. They waited till today, and so they didn't have it officially on their schedule. Malvern, Liberty Place. Boy, and I'm 1:30 p.m. Okay, that's all I'm going to do. They get that. Reply here. And done. All right. So I was wondering if somebody had sent me a request. So what I'm going to do is click create a notebook. It's this easy. We got to give it a name. I'm going to say this is my English 1 class. So we're simply going to go ahead, give it a name. It could be by your periods, whatever the case might be, and click next. Then it's going to tell you, great, we're going to create English 1 class for you. Here's what will be inside, and I got teachers coming to see something else this afternoon. So it's telling you you're going to get this, and again, this is just reiterating what I talked about earlier. Collaboration space, the content library, student notebook. You click next. Now it says optional, give another teacher. You know, when I was an educator, we used to, you can come on back for a sec, I used to collaborate and I did things. I was teaching English. I know it doesn't sound like it, many years removed, but I was teaching 8th grade English, and I collaborated with our computer science teacher so that we would take projects that we worked on in class, convert that into multimedia projects and other things, but we would try to cross work together around curriculum. You might be doing that. Here's where you can add those other educators, so it's not just you, but multiple educators that have access to this particular one. The beauty of that is then each of the educators will all have insight into the teacher content areas, the content libraries, as well as the student notebooks, right? So it's not just one educator. Now, maybe you're not doing cross collaboration. Why else might you want to do this? Well, there may be something around, you know, your safety policies for your district and others. You may want to have a master administrator or guidance counselor or one or more other people who have designated access the same as the teacher, so that they can have insight as to the collaboration and conversations taking place to protect, you know, for liability, the teachers. There's a number of different reasons you might want it. This is where you'd put them. I'm not going to put anybody there, though. I'm going to click next. Now it asks for student names. Now, this is important. You need to add the student names individually. So it says you can type them, in which case it'll do an Active Directory lookup. So you have students that are in Active Directory because they're already in your Office 365 environment, your school environment with logins. You could start to type. So I got a buddy in the back room there. Actually, Steven's back here. So let's go ahead and let's do Steven Castellani. It's doing this again, this active. There he is. Boom. Steven, you're going to be a member of my team.
I feel privileged.
He feels privileged. Don't feel privileged. You're going to get spammed. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to add him one other. I'm going to say Tariq Hamid. He's going to woo the day. I did this again, getting a little spam. There we go. So you can do the lookup, but also it says you can paste student names. So if you have a listing, a common delineated, maybe you had a spreadsheet, output it, common delineated, and copy those. They are separated by semicolon. You can paste the whole list in here one shot. Boom. And then you click next. It's going to then add them. Now it says almost there. What should be inside each student's private space? And it has here the defaults: an area for handouts, area for class notes where they can do private notes, homework where they can drop their homework off and you can see that, and quizzes. You also can add more. So let's say that, I know I said English class. I'll use that. But it could be your labs. Maybe you have, for science, maybe you have labs, student labs. For mine, maybe I'm doing the thing I used to love to teach was the writing process, right? I had my own that I developed working with ESL students, English as a second language. A lot of my students were 8th grade, had never had formal writing, couldn't put together a sentence. So what do you want to do? And I had kids that were brilliant, they were all very bright, but it was students who had the background and the education to be able to write very fluently, to students who had trouble, putting together a sentence. So I developed a writing process particular to that. There was a lot of steps in that. So I'm just going to say writing process work. So maybe along the lines we're going to put all that. So I'm going to add that. There we go. You can add as many additional areas as you want. I'm going to select next. Now it gives me an overview. This is what that's going to look like. I click create. That's it. It's now creating. It says it's working on it. You can see it as it goes, working on add to, the whole bit. Boom. There we go. The notebook is finished. It has a link. Share this with your students. So I can go ahead and email that to my students here. I can go back to home. And now it's going to open up. Oh, and there we go again. Oh boy. Hopefully that is not going to affect us here. So here we go. And we're going to see, here's our class notebooks. There's my English class 1. So let's go ahead and click that to open it. OneNote Online, so it should have developed that, and it's going to open it up in my browser. I can also open it up locally. And look at this. This is what we have here. So we've got a number of sections, right? And I'm going to go ahead and from here, let's see, File, Open in OneNote. I can click and open it locally. So I'll open it in my OneNote locally. Yes, allow it. Dun, 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 dun. So I want to show you both in the web as well as local. So it's going to go ahead, it's syncing the changes. The beauty of this is, and why I like to open it locally, not just in the web, is this allows me to work with the OneNote, this notebook, class notebook, in a disconnected fashion. And I do this frequently with all my notebooks. So I can be on and offline and then have it synchronize the changes up. Maybe I want to add some content when I'm disconnected from the school network or even completely offline. And then when I connect and I have access to that network, to that 365 instance, it'll synchronize those changes up. But the first time it's going to open it up here, it's going to synchronize all that content, all that stuff is taking place. So it's going to be a replication of what we see here, right? Where it's going ahead, it says it's syncing the changes, la 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 la. And still opening, still synchronizing. Again, this is first time. Come on. Come on. Oh, it's trying to recover. Again, I apologize for the beta. There we go. It set it up. All right, so we're done. So now you can see here is my notebook. I do want you to take note. It has here tabs for each of the students, so you'll be able to scroll through. But here we have, first of all, a welcome section. It welcomes you, the teacher, to the notebook. And that's important because it has some built-in tutorials, right? I'm showing you about this, but it has a 2-minute overview video. Then they have hands-on, learn why OneNote is great for the classroom, write notes on slide, plan a trip with others, search notes instantly, clip from the web. So it has sections to bring you, the teacher, up to speed. So they have the welcome. They have teacher basics, all the training built in. OneNote basics, so you can learn more about just OneNote in general and all the great stuff it can do. And then an FAQ on the OneNote class notebooks. So all that training, that's just for you, the teacher. You're the only one that sees that. It's under the Welcome tab. But we have, additionally, we mentioned collaboration, content libraries, and then students. So first off, let me go to the content library. When I click on that, notice there's a little back arrow. But when I clicked on it, again, I get a little overview. What is telling me what the content library is. So when I want to create content, perhaps we know there's a pending snow day. Perhaps I know that I'm going to give a particular lesson. I can go ahead, we'll click Add Page. I'm going to give this page a name, and this will be, notice it already has the date here. So let's say learning the writing process. So this could be my lesson on learning the writing process. So here, once I've gone ahead and set that up, I could start to type directions. I could maybe insert an audio or video of me talking about the writing process and place that in here. I also could come in, insert documents. Maybe I have handouts, right? So I want to attach those. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to attach a file here. So let's grab something. Oh, I don't know. Let's see. Pictures mix, new folder, desktop, music. I'm just going to grab a file. Desktop, here we go. So we'll grab, do I have anything here? I don't want to grab all that. Music. Okay, I'll just grab something goofy like a picture. So I can go ahead, insert and attach different files, but again, that could be anything. It could be a PDF, other type of content. I can type directions, right, that quickly. I could even write, right, today's lesson. In fact, you know what? Come on back here a second, Stephen. You might be in a classroom and projecting all this up on a smart board like I've got a screen here, or maybe you're projecting your screen. Bring up the OneNote for the class, and instead of writing on a board, start writing on your screen here and then having it show up there. So I could talk about the writing process. We're going to brainstorm. Boom. And then go on and on, blah, blah, blah. Write all those. It's up here. And so this is my content library. This is where I can hand out content. But I can go through, do all that insertion. When I'm finished, come up here to this little, you can come on back full screen. See this little arrow, it says navigate to parent section, come back, and there we go. So I've added content to the content library. Students now, I can direct them during class, and let's say this is, I'm going to set up the tab for this, learning the writing process. Thank goodness we have spell check. So now I have that with the date. So I have my lesson here, learning the writing process. Now students can come in and they can all take notes using a stylus, using their piece. The beautiful thing about this is if I have multiple people taking notes, OneNote allows multi-party authoring or co-authoring up to 99 in a class. I hope to goodness you don't have that in your classes. And then it will allow each student to do a new cell, right? So it will protect notes, and then it'll even say who was taking those notes. The beauty of that is that you can have multiple students working. They can't trample over each other's work as they're taking notes. Again, they can use styluses to write, blah, blah, blah. You know, they can type, they can insert audio, video. But when you're done, you have the consolidated notes from everybody here in this piece. And again, you could put this up on the board. You might be doing it at the top, allowing people to take notes underneath you. It's up to you, but it's a great place to collaborate. Then we're going to come on back. Here's our student ones, and I want to hurry up, and then we're going to get into the staff notebooks. But here you can see, here is my student piece where they can upload and keep track of their handouts. They can do private notes. They can upload their homework here, right? And I can see that. We have quizzes. They can upload writing process work. So here they could keep, like for example, if they're doing stuff in OneNote or if they're doing the writing process in Word, etc. Upload those pieces here and keep track of all that. I can check it. I'll have access to it. But then we're going to have this for each student. So I have it for Stephen Castellani. I also have it for Tariq Hamid. All my class will have their areas where they can go in and work. Here you go, you can see English Class 1, Tariq Hamid. All my students will have access to this. I can get in, check their work, update it, comment, but it's an area where only they can get in, no other students, as well as myself and the other educators or teachers, and then collaborate, grab their work, etc. So come on back. That's it for Class Notebook. It's a great, it is just done for you. You go in, you add the app, add the class, right? And there you go. Boom, it's done. Start working with it. Start, if you're timid about it, start slow. Just add the content for the, as you go and do your lesson plans for the week, take your handouts and other items, add them to the content library, right? Maybe you start off real simple like that. Let students drop off their homework in a tab. Go ahead and say, something simple like Stephen coming in, and maybe you show them, model for them, right? And say, here we go, we're in homework, right? So we'll just say homework, and today's date 17, help if I remember the date, 17/2015. There we go. So now I know he can go in, drop off his homework. He can do that by inserting, and you can demonstrate that for him, instruct the students, and you're finished. Makes it easy, sweet, and to the point. That's the class notebook. So I'm going to close out of that. And we're going to go on back to my home page of our corporate intranet. I'm going to go to sites, and we're going to go over here to our sites and back to that one site because we're going to cover the staff notebooks. There we go. So next, why don't we come on full screen, Stephen? Streamlining communications and collaboration with staff notebooks. So very similar to what we did with students, we can do the same with staff, with our staff within an educational environment. So you could use this in corporate training to manage your trainers. If you're at a school and you're a principal, vice principal, superintendent, whatever, you can manage your staff with this. And it's going to look very simple, very similar to what we did. So there's giving a quick overview of the class notebook. So similar to what we did, we're going to get the same kind of view, but now with staff in mind. And we're going to create it the same way. That's why we saved this one for second, because it just builds on what we already did. This allows school administrators to quickly set up a shared OneNote notebook within Office 365. It's going to have a collaboration area. Think of staff meetings, district meetings, whatever the case might be, where you can have consolidated meeting minutes, all the staff taking notes. Content library, maybe it's where you disseminate things so the teachers can incorporate those, like, lesson plan templates and other content. Maybe you have latest policies that have come down from the district that you want to disseminate. You can put those in the content library. And then staff member private notebooks, where staff can do things like, upload their lesson plans for the week. So if they're out, you can quickly retrieve those lesson plans and then make that available for the substitute teacher coming in and other such things. So a couple of things, they mentioned here the content library. Here they have an example, and what they're doing here, they have extracurricular programs, and it says if students want to start a school club, not on this list, they must have a teacher sponsor and submit a club. So they have the sponsor form here. It's a Word doc, and then they have some of the pieces that they already have. Then they have a listing of calendar, items for dates and deadlines for particular groups and clubs. So again, this idea of making this content available for the staff to come and consume here, staff can see what's happening, what's coming up. Maybe they have students interested in starting a club, and you've made that available to them in the content library. And they're just kind of showing some more around that. And also by putting some metadata that we make it easier to search for and discover that. Then they have Outlook tasks that we can embed and an email page. The collaboration page, right? Here they have getting started, and they have a collaboration page for a school open house coming up. I remember, hey, you guys are going to have that shortly with school open houses. We had it at the beginning of every year. And so they have a whole piece around this that says attached are 2 almost final drafts for the open house. And they have here a gym map, open house document. I hope to have those final by Tuesday. I want to share them with you as you could review and potentially ward off some problems if you see some or have a misgivings or glaring things glaring at you sideways. The open house begins at 2 in the gym for families to attend. They just have some more information around that. And then you can teachers could collaborate. They also have then web resources in other areas. But because this is the collaboration space, everybody can edit, all staff and administration. So it opens it up really to gathering all the knowledge being captured from all the staff. Also, if you have things like staff meetings, everybody could be taking notes here. If a particular educator could not make it, they'd have access to all that content as well. Then the private notebooks, right? Let's say we're talking about, conferences. So here, the pre-conference, pre-observation conference, right? So, the teacher's set up here, they show on the far right, and it says classroom great. So the teachers posted a picture of what it's going to look like in their room, describe the goal. They have things around lesson plans, etc. Looks great. It says well organized, daily wheel posted and clearly visible. So here the administrator is then commenting on what this teacher has posted. Beautiful use of this. It also has using the ICT for learning rubric. What coding would you give this learning activity? And they have some information there. And then finally, they have assignments that they're bringing up to be able to show, actually do this with the parent-teacher, right? Conferences. So they've actually included that in. Again, all this then is viewable by the administrator or administrators. So if there is an issue or question, maybe a parent comes to the administrator with a concern, all the information around these conferences is posted, it's available, and the administrator has first-hand insight into what's actually being relayed. So it's not a he said, she said, whatever he said, he said, or whatever case might be. It's all done. You can also do this again for other items like doing your weekly lesson plans, and they have professional development and other content that may be appropriate. Again, some of the beauties of this, you can access all of this across all your devices via OneNote. So whether you're on an iPad, iPhone, Android, Windows Phone, a Mac, we don't care. And then they have some content, getting started. I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Here's where it showed adding the app. It's just showing you building, and you can come out of full screen using the same processes that we used earlier. So it's nothing different. You're going to go in, say add an app, but this time search on OneNote Staff Notebook Creator, and that'll come up in the App Store. You can add that app, have it available for you to set up then your individual educators or classes, however you want to structure that, and then have that content just like previous. That's it. It's simple. It's useful. It's free. It's all done for you. Again, just come in with this particular one, say add an app. We're almost at time, so I'm just going to show you how easy this is. I'm going to say OneNote Staff Notebook. Just going to hit enter. There it is. Boom. You can click add it, and that's it. You say trust it, and it'll walk you through the same process you had earlier. That's it. It is simple. It's easy. There's no reason why you can't and should not be using this. I hope you do use it. I'm actually going to go ahead, stay on this page, and I'm going to add a link to this slide deck in here as well, so you'll be able to grab both of our slides for the staff notebook as well as class notebook. So we'll put that as today's slides. I hope you found this helpful. If you're watching this on demand, if you have questions, certainly let us know. Happy to engage with you. Would love to engage. I'm going to be working with some teachers in just a little bit, so we're going to wrap this up. But quickly to kind of recap, if you are interested in additional content for educators, if there's areas you want us to cover, let us know. Here in this MTC TV Yammer group, if you request access, you can request it at mgann, M-G-A-N-N, at Microsoft.com. You can also just click in this video, even on demand. Below, you'll see the integration. Click on it, request access. We'll grant you that access. and then you can get started. It's that simple. It's easy. It's all from Microsoft for you because we love education. We love educators and students. Let us know how we can help. With that, this is Michael Gannotti here for MTC Studios Philadelphia with Midday Café. I'm ready to drink my coffee, finish my lunch, my little salad, and then I have a group of educators coming into our lab for hands-on experience with Mix. Hope you have a great day. Have a great week. I know you're all prepping for your classes coming in. Take care, and as always, ciao. Bye now.